No, I just want people to act. They have to act, and we want to act fast.
There are so many different angles to this story, but let's start here. Donald Trump is so addled. I mean, look, it's one thing when you have a president who's a little on the older side, not in touch with technology. We see this all the time in like Senate committee hearings where they're talking about Bitcoin and the blockchain, and they have no idea what they're talking about. The internet for them was like frozen in time in like 1998. There's a lot of these guys that probably still use Windows 95 on their computer, right? I mean, it's not great. It's one of the reasons why we, as the electorate, I'm not saying set age limits. I think that's unconstitutional and it's ageist and it's shitty because you certainly have people out there who are sharp as a tack, who are leading, like Bernie Sanders, for instance. But as the electorate, we need to be doing a better job of picking winners and losers and stop electing these old, out of touch individuals who are creating policy for a septuagenarian electorate constituency when the vast majority of people are, 30 something. So I say all that to say this. I think this message from Donald Trump that I'm getting ready to read, this PAM post on True Social, this one here, I think this was meant to be a DM. I think this may be meant to be a text, just a private message to Pam Bondi, and it ended up getting posted. I mean, it reads like that, certainly. But Donald Trump right now is using the weight of the federal government to weaponize the DOJ against Democrats. He's dispatching the attorney general, who's supposed to be independent, fiercely independent, an arbiter of justice, an administrator of justice. He's directing her to go after Democrats. He's putting in place his yanked from like an 80s teen movie, Lindsay Halligan, as the U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, who, by the way, is someone who thinks that we'll get to those clips. We'll get to that. She's just a random talking head that he happens to like because I guess she's sexy to him or something because, she's got the whole MAGA look going on. But get a load of this supposed DM is what we think from Donald Trump to Pam Bondi. Pam! I have reviewed over 30 statements and posts saying that essentially same old story as last time, all talk, no action. Nothing is being done. What about Comey, Adam Shifty Schiff, Letitia? They're all guilty as hell, but nothing is going to be done, unquote. So Donald Trump is saying he's reviewed statements and posts. He's going through Truth Social, maybe Twitter, certainly not Blue Sky or some other normal platform. He's looking on the Nazi Twitter and the Nazi Truth Social and seeing posts that he thinks need the attention of the Attorney General of the United States of America and the head of the Department of Justice. Gotcha. Then we almost put a Democrat-supported U.S. attorney in Virginia with a really bad Republican past, a woke rhino who is never going to do his job. That's why two of the worst Dem senators pushed him so hard. He even lied to the media and said he quit and that we had no case. No, I fired him. He didn't quit. I fired him. He didn't quit. I fired him. No, you're not. You can't quit. I fire you. I fire you. This is the president of the United States of America. Good job, MAGA. No, I fired him, and there was a great case, and many lawyers and legal pundits say so. Look, all the lawyers I see on Fox News, they agree with me. They say so too. Confirmation bias run amok here. Lindsay Halligan, you'll get to know her a little bit better in a second. Lindsay Halligan is a really good lawyer and likes you a lot. Apparently, that's the part of the resume that really matters whether you get hired by the Attorney General of these United States. It's whether the person likes the attorney general, likes Donald Trump. We know it's loyalty based, certainly. We can't delay any longer. It's killing our reputation and credibility. Sorry, buddy, that's gone a long time ago. They impeached me twice and indicted me 5 times over nothing. Justice must be served now, declares Donald Trump, President DJT. Let me read to you a couple of headlines here. 3, I think. Politico. Trump says U.S. attorney should be fired after not prosecuting New York Attorney General Letitia James. The president endorsed the removal of Eastern District of Virginia U.S. Attorney Eric Sbert after he reportedly failed to charge James with mortgage fraud. He didn't fail to. There was just no evidence of it. And he says, look, I'm not going to use this department. I'm not going to use the Eastern District of Virginia as Donald Trump's personal vendetta service. There wasn't enough evidence, said the U.S. attorney for that district. And no, I'm not going to bring a case. The Daily Beast, Trump plots to fire prosecutor for failing to charge his nemesis. Administration officials want New York Attorney General Letitia James prosecuted despite a lack of evidence. And then here, we'll bring it full circle, up to date. Here's the local affiliate here in Washington, D.C., WUSA 9. He didn't quit. I fired him. Trump withdraws U.S. attorney nomination over Letitia James investigation. Eric Sbert, who has served as the top federal prosecutor since January, has been told to resign or face termination, according to the Associated Press. Now, Donald Trump came out wearing his stupid tux and he was asked about this. Are you criticizing Pam Bondi in your post? And then he rambles. And then we're going to get to the other tweet where he names Lindsay Halligan. And then I will do my civic duty and remind you who the time machine possessing, loving of the 80s, or at least the look of the 80s, Lindsay Halligan actually is. Watch this.
Mr. President! Mr. President! Mr. President! Hello! Hi! Are you criticizing Pam Bondi?
No, I just want people to act. They have to act. And we want to act fast. You know, they were ruthless and vicious. I was impeached twice. I was indicted 5 times. It turned out to be a fake deal. And we have to act fast. One way or the other. One way or the other. They're guilty, they're not guilty, we have to act fast. If they're not guilty, that's fine. If they are guilty or if they should be charged, they should be charged. And we have to do it now.
What a weird way to phrase that, no? You know, they were ruthless and vicious. I was impeached twice. I was indicted 5 times. It turned out to be a fake deal. What do you mean it turned out to be a fake deal? If you didn't do the crimes, it didn't turn out to be fake. It was fake from the get-go. This guy just gives up the game every single time he opens his flapping mouth. It turned out to be... Your language, sir, with tears in my eyes, I must confess, gives the game away, Donald Trump. So he did indeed name Lindsay Halligan through official decree. You know, the government runs on the posts of Donald Trump, and this is how you do it. He says, it's my honor to appoint Lindsay Halligan, who has been serving as special assistant to the president at the White House as United States Attorney for Eastern District of Virginia. Lindsay is tough, smart, loyal attorney, loyal to Donald Trump. You'll get to see that in a second again. A loyal attorney who has worked with me for a long time, including in winning fight against the weaponization of our justice system by crooked Joe Biden and the radical left Democrats, which she witnessed firsthand when she stood up for my rights during the unconstitutional and un-American raid on my home, Mar-a-Lago, in Palm Beach, Florida. Unconstitutional? A warrant was issued by a federal judge. It was not unconstitutional, illegal, or even improper, you ghoul. Anyway, I'm not going to read the rest of this fucking nonsense, but let's do this. He did sign it, by the way, Make America Great Again, and President Donald J. Trump, so you know it's serious. So you know he really means it. When I was in Boise a few weeks ago, prior to getting the old COVID, I talked about Lindsay Halligan and about Donald Trump's assault on history and the Smithsonian Institution. And there was a clip from Newsmax. I'm not going to play the whole clip, but I want to give you a flavor for who Donald Trump is putting into a very high, important position because he wants someone sufficiently stupid and loyal. I think you have to have a little stupidity to be loyal to Donald Trump. He's putting someone so stupid and loyal to Donald Trump in that position that we know she'll just do whatever he says. It's another Alina Habba type situation, right? He can't find someone sufficiently disloyal to the rule of law, so he just goes and finds his personal attorneys. Here she is explaining to these Newsmax hosts that the Smithsonian is like the foundation of our education system in America. Yikes.
Can you expand on what the president wants to see inside the Smithsonian and ultimately others as well?
Of course, yeah. So the president wants to see more positivity, more patriotism. We live in the greatest country in the world, and our Smithsonian Institution, which is really the foundation of our education system as a whole and is over 70% funded by taxpayers, should reflect American exceptionalism. And a good example, a lot of the placards that I've seen when I've gone through the various museums, almost every single placard next to an artifact pushes an ideological or political narrative.
The foundation of our education system as a whole, she says. Why is it I have a hankering for some 80s music when I look at her talk? I don't know. Here's another one, by the way, the anti-democratic, the absolutely pushing the lie that Donald Trump won the 2020 election. Here she is on Steve Bannon's show. This is back in 2022 or 2023, and she's really not changed the look or the Trump loyal message. Watch this.
CNN branded President Trump as a liar and referred to his questions regarding voter fraud as the big lie, which is actually linked to Adolf Hitler. So it's pretty simple. If you're going to call someone a liar, back it up with researched, well-founded facts. Otherwise, don't report it. Don't distort the truth. And as Boris pointed out, CNN responded to our letter today, advising us that they will not retract any of the statements. So they will be getting served with a lawsuit very shortly, I believe.
So,
same deal. Lying about the election results of 2020 and lying about CNN and their coverage as though that's an attack on Donald Trump when they report the facts of the matter that Donald Trump lost in grand fashion the election of 2020 against Joe Biden, who got 7+ million more votes than him. And here we have the newly appointed attorney, U.S. attorney for the Eastern District of Virginia, Lindsay Halligan. What are we going to do here? I don't want to turn every video into a complaint about Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries, but what are they doing other than demanding meetings with Donald Trump in the White House like that's going to do anything? Other than firing off emails or letters to Donald Trump like that's going to do anything. We still have Democrats voting for Donald Trump's nominees. We still have Democrats voting for legislation that gives Donald Trump immense power relative to law enforcement and ICE in this country. We still have Democrats voting to honor Charlie Kirk, a racist, Christian nationalist bigot, turning October 14th into some day of honor for a white supremacist. People I respect are on that list of people who voted for that. What are we doing, Democrats? What are we doing as Democrats? We don't want to appear to be... Stop. Start leading. Start demanding a better country. Get out there. Put your job in harm's way. Demand to go through ICE facilities and inspect them, as is your right, as is your duty under the Constitution and our laws statutorily. You have oversight. I don't have oversight. I don't even have a vote in Congress being from Washington, living in Washington, D.C. I have no power in this. You do. You're an elected representative of the people's house. Do your job. Stop all of this from happening. Anyway, I want to hear from you. You can sound off wherever you're watching this video in the comments. You can also call the voicemail line and leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me as always, daily@dollemore.com. I love and appreciate you very much. I'll see you next time. Be genuine. Take care of one another.